Do you ever feel like you can't say what you want to say? Have you felt bad when things didn't go your way? So maybe you need to improve your communication skills. Good communication is a very important skill. Without this, you can never move forward in life. With this summary, you will learn how to talk to people in a skillful manner. You will see why effective communication is important. Good communicators can get everything they want out of life. Whether it is a job of their choice, good grades, or a romantic partner, they can have it all. It is also easy to make friends with very good communication skills. From this summary, you will learn the basic principles of effective communication. It is most important to listen carefully during communication. You will learn many ways to listen, and you will also understand how to stop worrying about the judgment of others. You'll also learn how to stop yourself from being negative during a conversation. Being negative can make anyone go away from you. You'll also learn how to share your point of view without hurting others with your words. You'll learn to appreciate people and how to deal with insults or bad comments made by others. In the end, you'll learn how to easily communicate with people who can't hear. This summary will help you to improve yourself. Listening, the most fundamental of all conversation skills. The basic principle of good conversation is listening carefully. But for most people, conversation means speaking on their own. They don't pay attention to what others are saying. Because of this, people only remember 25% of what they hear. You may not know why it is so important to listen carefully during a conversation. When you start a conversation, you learn something. You increase your knowledge by interacting with different people. Therefore, thinking that you will get to learn something from the person you are talking to, see him as a mentor and start listening to him. Communication expert Julian Treasure says that people only pay attention to 60% of the conversation. We know that if we forget something, we can easily find it in a book or video. But we cannot find our mother's conversation on the internet. For that, we have to listen carefully in that conversation. To listen well, you should know about its different types. They are called listening approach. It depends on your position while talking. The first approach is critical listening. This happens when you are analyzing facts in a conversation. Like your friend is telling you about his new phone. He is telling you how big is its screen, how fast is the processor, and how much data can be stored inside it. When you listen to him, you try to verify his words. You are wondering if his phone is really better than other phones in the market. The second is empathetic listening. In this, you are listening to help others express their feelings. Like your friend telling you how sad she is after breaking up with her boyfriend. Your position should be according to the need of your friend in this situation. The third approach is reductive listening. Like a surgical nurse follows the orders of the head surgeon. In this situation, he has to understand his words quickly by listening to them. Then he has to focus on the facts and work on them quickly. Fourth is expansive listening. Like your friend tells you that she is about to file a case for divorce from her husband. You hear her talking about her ex-husband. She tells how difficult it is for her to hire a lawyer. In this situation, you are listening to understand facts. This is similar to empathetic listening, but expansive listening focuses on facts more than emotion. The fifth approach is passive listening. You don't have to do anything for passive listening. Like your dad telling you how he used to win games on the golf course. You don't need to react in this situation. You know your father just wanted someone to listen to him. The last approach is active listening. This happens when you ask questions and react to the other person's words. In active listening, you tell the other person that you are interested in listening to them. Which listening approach you have to use depends on the situation. Many people prefer active listening because it is a good feeling to be understood by others. But sometimes even just passive listening is enough. How to stop fearing judgment. Some people not only struggle to choose the right words while talking, but they also have a lot of fear that they will be judged. He is battling social anxiety disorder. Social anxiety disorder can cause panic attacks and can leave a person socially isolated. Although not all people have the tendency of social anxiety disorder, but we all worry about what people think of us. It is true that people will judge you, will make an opinion about you regarding your looks or behavior. But you can't pretend to be someone else all the time. By doing this, sometime in life you will get tired. You can't please everyone, so it's best to accept yourself. The first step to accepting yourself is building your self-confidence. When you are confident, you don't care what people are saying. To build your self-confidence, first challenge your self-criticism. When you keep critiquing yourself throughout the day, then you make yourself feel bad. Suppose your friend calls you ugly and stupid. How would you feel? You will definitely feel very bad. Just like that, wouldn't you feel bad if you kept telling yourself that all the time? To overcome this, stop talking negatively to yourself. Whenever you feel bad about yourself, say the word stop over and over again to let your brain know you're serious. The next tip to gain confidence is to develop a skill within yourself. Learn a new skill, like baking or painting. Then you'll feel proud of yourself. You'll feel like you're a capable person, and you'll have a new topic to talk about. The last tip is, don't let what people say to you affect you. If someone thinks that you are not beautiful in appearance, then it is their thinking or opinion. You can't do anything about it. But if people find you boring and stupid, then you can work hard to make yourself interesting and smart. You can judge someone's confidence in a matter of seconds. Take Susan, for example. She met her new neighbor while returning home. She was shocked by how confident and outstanding he was. Susan felt that he must have been a very social type from an early age. She felt drawn towards him. Later, he learns that his new neighbor is a retired sheriff. That is, he was an officer in charge of legal matters. So you can see how Susan followed the clues to draw a conclusion about his personality. The retired sheriff was so confident because he believed in himself. To overcome people's judgment, first stop thinking that everything is about you. If you think that people are always thinking about you, then you are wrong. People do not think about others for hours. He has his own life in which he moves forward. Like you went to the party last night and you said something stupid. Some people may laugh at you, but they won't spend hours thinking about it. So don't torture yourself thinking about it. Stop focusing too much on yourself. Instead, focus on others. When you talk to others, you may feel that they are judging you, but try to know them better. You will realize that even he is not perfect. He is just a human being like you. The more you get to know them, the more friendly they become. Avoiding excessive negativity in your social interactions. Some people just don't understand why their conversations never go right. The reason for this is their negativity. Negativity can enter into any conversation and spoil it. When you complain or whine, you make others feel bad. When you focus too much on yourself, you neglect the people around you. When you don't understand the situation and keep talking continuously, you hurt people. Such incidents spoil your relationship with others. Try to leave your negativity for an effective communication. Negative answers for simple questions can spoil your mood. For example, you asked your neighbor how she is. He replied in the negative. He said that he has a lot of work to do, the weather is bad, and many more such things. Would you like to talk to her often? But what if he had answered you differently? Suppose your neighbor would have said that he has a little headache, but he will get well soon. So don't you like it? It means that if you remain positive, then other people will also be positive. It is not wrong to share your bad experience with people, but you should not put the burden of your problems on them. Suppose one day your car breaks down and you lose your phone. After returning home, you get into an argument with your partner. Next day morning, you see your budgie very happy. At the same time, you want to spoil his mood so you can make yourself feel better. You should not do this because slowly people will start biting you. Instead, you can try to please both yourself and the person you are talking to. Try to lighten the mood so that both of you feel comfortable talking. There will come a time when you will have to compromise during the conversation. Like one of your friends thinks a girl named Reina is pretty, but you don't think so. If you disagree immediately at that time, then all the people present there will feel very strange. So to continue the conversation, you will have to compromise a bit here. People hate it the most when you point out their faults, and this can be downright awful during a conversation. For example, if your friend Julian is not pronouncing a word properly, then let him go. Don't tell him that he is making a mistake. This will hurt her. Ignore it. As long as he doesn't do something serious, let him go. The last problem is talking only about yourself. Once a man named Tom went to visit his relatives. There he met a man named Rob. Rob was her cousin's partner. When Tom talks to Rob, Rock only talks about his vacation at the most expensive resort in Europe. Rob wasn't at all interested in hearing about Tom's adventures. This made Tom so irritated that he wanted to say out loud, "Just do it, brother." This is called being self-centered. That means just keep talking about yourself. You should never show yourself better than others. This is the main reason why many conversations fail. During the discussion, give other people a chance to say their aspect as well. Only then it will be a true conversation. Not being good at conversation is one thing that makes people feel inferior. But you can fix this by staying positive, because with time and practice you will get better at conversation. The ethical conversationalist, getting your views across and needs met without harming others. Good conversation skills can build great relationships. But having good conversational skills doesn't mean lying. It is not right to lie anywhere. Yes, there are some situations where a person can get away with lying, but it can also have unwanted consequences in the long run. The same thing applies to laughter and jokes. There are some places where you can joke, but there are some places where you cannot. When joking, always keep in mind who you are joking with so that you don't hurt them. Let's discuss about lying and manipulating in conversation. Imagine you ask your friend to bring a bottle of soda to your house. What are you doing here? You are trying to change his behavior with your words, and there is nothing wrong in that. As long as an action does not hurt anyone, it is right. But some people believe that manipulating people is wrong. To manipulate means to turn things around. It is such a conversation skill that a person must have to survive in today's world. But before learning it, there are some things you need to remember. First, don't try to change others' minds, especially when you want to do so for your own benefit. Suppose a friend of yours likes a person who you do not like, but you also know that the person isn't all bad and that he probably likes your friend. You stop your friend from spending time with him. In this way, you are hurting your friend's feelings. If by any means he gets to know about this, you will lose your friend. The second is, don't try to become higher than someone by seeing their weakness or compulsion. Suppose you are a lawyer. Your friend has invited you and some colleagues to his house to spend time. One of them tells about the neighbor living on the floor below him, which is very irritating. The man says that he will file a case against his neighbors for disturbing him. He tells more things for which he wants to sue them. Being a lawyer, you know that he cannot do this, so you try to change his mind by giving him the right information. But because he doesn't know much about the law, he will feel nervous and embarrassed by it. So how about lying? We are taught from childhood that one should never lie. Our parents have always told us, but the next moment we hear them lying, you would think that lying is right or wrong? If you build a relationship on the basis of lies, then it will break soon. Also, when you lie to someone, you are deceiving him. Later on, he may take wrong decisions because of your lies. Lying is wrong and can never be right. But sometimes in some situations, you can get away with lying. Like when your friend asks you if you like her new hat or not, you don't want to make your friend feel bad, so there is nothing wrong with lying. But when it comes to serious things, you should speak the truth. Suppose you tell your friend that she is good at engineering. She believes in this and starts preparing for the engineering exam. But she scores very low marks and fails. Here it is better to tell the truth to your friend even if he gets hurt. The art of compliment. Compliments are an effective way to win someone's heart. When you compliment someone, they feel that you care for them. In return, he starts paying attention to you. But you should also know how to respond when you are praised. For this, you can simply thank them from the bottom of your heart. Doing this will let people know that you value their opinion. It is very easy to praise. All you have to do is go to that person and tell your heart to them. But have you ever felt whether he will believe you or not, and when do compliments really work? Compliments are effective when they are sincere and from the heart. Like when your friend tells you about homework, you praise him that he is very smart. He just told you about the homework. You haven't done your homework, so it may look like you are trying to manipulate him. The next thing is that praise should always be done at the right time. Like you went to your friend's musical concert. You told him the other day that he performed very well. This is not the right time to praise him. You should have praised him immediately after the performance. Compliments should also be specific. If you just tell someone that they are nice, smart, or kind, that is clearly not a compliment. Tell them what they are good at. Tell them the good things they have done. Never praise yourself just to make yourself look good. You feel good when you are praised from the heart. Research also shows that the people you admire are kinder to you. But you should not build your reputation as a person who praises all the time. Doing so will make you come off as fake and pretentious. Be the kind of person who only praises those people who truly deserve it. There are certain things that you should keep in mind while complimenting people. The first tip is to convey your thoughts to people through someone else. Jim wanted to compliment Becky. He wanted to tell her that she did very well in the presentation yesterday. So Jim compliments Becky during his conversation with Jill. Although Jill forgot most of the conversation, she tells Becky about it and passes on Jim's compliments to her. The person who is being praised knows that this praise is true because he got to hear it from someone else. Becky was pleased to know that Jim complimented her in front of anyone else. The second tip is to praise indirectly. Instead of saying you're very good at it, you can say, "I don't understand this book, but I think you will, so can you help me understand it?" When you praise someone in this way, he will not be embarrassed and will accept the praise. The last tip is add some questions at the end. Ted said to Ken, "Hey, Ken, you draw very well. Where did you learn that?" Ted added a question at the end of the compliment. By doing so, he gave an opportunity to move the conversation forward. Ken can now take this conversation forward by talking about his school and the courses or classes he has taken. If Ted had only complimented Ken, there would have been an awkward silence between the two of them afterward. It is more difficult to accept a compliment than to give it. It is possible that when you are praised, you may not be able to say anything or you may be embarrassed. In such a time, by politely thanking the person in front, his opinion should be accepted. It would be best to do this. How to handle heated discussions. Arguments are common. It is also common for people to get angry. When he is angry, he wants to vent his anger on someone. But there are some tricks that will help you overcome such situations. If you get angry in return, you'll only make them more angry. In this way, the problem will never be solved. Instead, keep your cool and let the other person calm down. This can also be applied in office meeting. Two people often start arguing. To solve the problem between them, treat both equally. Never take one side. It will only make the situation worse. One day when Sam returned home, he found his wife very angry. As soon as he entered inside the house, Sarah started shouting at him for his behavior. Sam just stood there watching. He also wanted to shout angrily at her, but he restrained himself. He applied the tips he learned from a book on communication. Anger is an emotion, and he knew that he should not be afraid of it, and anger was not the issue here. The way Sarah was expressing herself here was the cause of trouble. Sam knew that his feeling was temporary. When she calms down, her anger will also go away. So Sam tells Sarah that Sam feels terrible for hurting her. He said that he is ready to solve it. He saw that Sarah is slowly becoming calm. That's how Sam didn't quarrel with him. He didn't say anything against her. He showed that he understands her. He didn't raise his voice. He knew that doing so would make Sarah even more angry. Sam kept his cool and listened to all her complaints. Sarah pointed out his mistakes several times, but Sam just focused on the problem at hand. When people are angry, they cannot understand right from wrong. They just understand to express their anger. Being a calm person, you need to find a solution. You shouldn't be angry with them. Don't even shout at them, as this will only make things worse. Keep your mind cool and listen to the other person. Don't show that you want to fight them. Show them that you want to help them. Never raise your voice, or they will feel like you want to fight with them. If the person in front also uproots the old things, then ignore it. This is called stockpiling. People do this to hurt you or to distract from the real issue. Don't fall into this trap. Just focus on now. After some time, that person himself will get tired and calm down. This happens in meetings as well. The two were arguing during a separate party meeting. The manager had to intervene in this. He had complete authority over this meeting. He knew all the members present there. The manager made it clear that everyone would be allowed to speak. He told both the parties that they would have to wait for their turn to speak. He tried to lump them all into one group. The manager focused his attention on the problem that was just in front of him. They have shown everyone why they have gathered there. He summarized all the points of his discussion. It showed both the party what they have come here to do. In between, he would ask questions to bring the discussion back to the main point. This is how the manager settled the quarrel. You can also solve this type of situation coming in your life. If someone targets you, tell them not to do so. Talk to them directly. Ask them why they said what they said. According to etiquette expert Diane Gottsman, the best way to respond to a rude remark is to ask questions. This will make that person aware and stop doing so. You can also ask him why he feels that way about you. Remaining calm in such situations encourages them to continue doing so. If you do not respond to the insult, people will consider you weak. Tell them that if they continue with the verbal abuse, you can file a complaint against them. But don't insult them in exchange for insults. By doing this, you will stoop to their level. Steve Dinkin, president of National Conflict Resolution, says it's okay to ignore minor insults. Maybe the person was just having a bad day or didn't mean to hurt you intentionally, so let it go. Sometimes, in an escalating argument, you should be the first one to apologize. Tell the person in front that you understand. You tell them that you will not let this happen again. Like your neighbor is angry because your dog dug up their garden. You can offer to compensate for that loss. Even if he doesn't accept your apology, let him go. Instead of taking it personally, leave it and move on. Conversations between hearing and hearing-impaired individuals. Millions of people are suffering from hearing loss. You might not know it, but your buddies might be one of them. So communicating with them can be a bit difficult. Here are some tips to have a better conversation with them. Let's say you have trouble hearing. You can hear better from one side. You can ask the person you are talking to talk on the same side. It's a good idea to let them know that you hear less on one side so they can adjust that way. The next tip is to speak slowly. You may not understand some things when the other person is speaking very fast. In such a situation, ask them to speak slowly. Don't ask what when you don't understand something during a conversation. Instead, politely ask them to repeat themselves and say, "Sorry, I didn't hear you. Can you say that again?" Suppose you are talking to your friend about his house. You understand that he has bought a new house. The house is painted, but you did not understand the color scheme. In this situation, you should clearly say that you did not understand the color scheme. This lets them know that you were paying attention and took the time to ask them about it. Suppose you are talking to a group. You are finding it difficult to understand who is talking. Then you can ask the person talking to you to hold an object. Whenever someone talks, he will be holding that thing. This way you will know who is talking. What tips can people of hearing use to make communication easier for people with hearing loss? First, you have to understand how the hearing aid machine works. The hearing machine simply amplifies the sound so that it is heard louder. That's why don't think that a person starts hearing normally after wearing a hearing aid. Draw their attention towards you. This way he will not miss what you are saying. Look straight at them while talking. Do not keep your mouth covered. Not all hard of hearing people can lip read, but rely on the way the mouth is moving to understand what is being said to them. Ask them which ear they hear better with and talk to that side. Also, don't blame them for any misunderstandings and take responsibility on yourself. In this way, he will not feel insecure. Conclusion. First, you learn the basic principle of effective conversation, which is listening. View every interaction as an opportunity to learn. If you listen to others, then you can increase your knowledge. Second, you learned how to stop thinking that people are judging you. Accept yourself the way you are and stop talking negative to yourself. You can't please everyone, so do what makes you happy. Third, he learned how to stay positive during the conversation. Avoid complaining and whining. If you keep bringing negative things in the conversation again and again, then people may not want to talk to you. Fourth, learned how to share your views without hurting people. Don't make the conversation just about yourself. If someone in front does not make a big mistake, then avoid finding their mistakes. Fifth, you learned how to compliment people. A heartfelt compliment lets people know that you really care. Sixth, you learned how to handle the changing conversation in a debate. Let the other person calm down first and let them say what they have to say. Help them find the solution. Finally, you learned how to communicate effectively with people who are hard of hearing. When talking to them, look straight at them and speak slowly. Take responsibility for that conversation. Learning anything is not easy. Think back to the time you learned to walk. You had fallen several times and hurt yourself. But eventually you learned to walk, and today you can run a marathon. The same applies to learning to be a good communicator. You fail first, then only you come to know what mistake you have made, And when you know what you need to improve, things become easier. The simple tips in this summary will accompany you throughout your life.